Hello and welcome back to Reykjavík Grapevine's newscast. My name is Josie Anne. I'm a journalist with Reykjavík Grapevine. Valor and Polly aren't here today. They're off enjoying the snow. But Art and I, we've taken you somewhere quite special. We are here at the Blue Lagoon, which is somewhere that you might know of if you're interested in Iceland, and it's, just a beautiful day. So we figured we would take you somewhere interesting and enjoy the snow. First off, I want to mention this amazing lopapeysa, Icelandic wool sweater that I'm wearing. It's called Dagur. You can get it in our shop. The link is down below in the description. They are so beautifully made. They're all handmade here, and they're made of Icelandic wool, which is incredibly warm. You can see it's pretty cold out today, but this is keeping me nice and cozy. And also, before we go any further, I want to say to you, Góðan daginn. That's Góðan daginn, or good day in Icelandic Sign Language. And the reason why I've learned that relates to the news today, but we'll go into that a little bit later. For now, let's start with the news. Okay, so let's start with COVID. Of course, that's always the perennial topic. So we've been having really high case numbers here in Iceland for the last few days. It's been quite standard that we've had around 2,000 cases a day for the last wee while. But yesterday was another record-breaking day where we had, I think it was, 2,881 cases yesterday, so almost 3,000 cases. Despite this, the severity of the illness with this new Omicron variant, as is across the world, seems to be far less severe. So although we have these huge case numbers, I think there are around 50 people in the hospital, which is high, but it's not so bad. And as far as I'm aware as well, there's nobody in intensive care, as far as I believe. There's certainly nobody on a ventilator. There have been a few deaths since the beginning of the year, which is incredibly sad. There was a man in his 50s, died a couple of days ago. He had been in the intensive care unit. But in general, people seem to be getting far less sick from this variant. And as a result, they're now talking about removing all restrictions within the next 10 days, and that includes border restrictions. So for those of you who are thinking about visiting Iceland in the next while, this is relevant to you. The Icelandic health minister has said that, as things are at the moment, he would like to lift all pandemic measures by the 25th of February. So that would include limitations on indoor gatherings, which has already been raised from the previous restrictions to 200 people who can now gather. But it would also, would mean that all restrictions at the border, including testing on arrival, would be lifted. There's obviously some mixed feelings about this. Omicron is still here with us, and some people are getting, quite ill from it. But in general, this seems to be moving to a new phase of coronavirus and to a kind of situation of living with Omicron and with coronavirus, as opposed to trying to live as if we are, under restrictions as it was before. So this is how things are at the moment. Obviously, we'll keep you updated if things change. Please do, as always, if you are coming to Iceland, please check covid.is. I'll put the link in the description for that as well. That always has the most up-to-date information about pandemic measures in Iceland. So it's a really important resource. And as ever, we also report on this in our actual newspaper and on our website. So please check that out. There's a lot of people enjoying the snow here. So one of the reasons why the Omicron variant seems to be having less of an impact aside from the variant itself maybe being less severe, is that a huge proportion of people in Iceland are vaccinated. Valor's talked about this before on the newscast, but it's something like 91% of the adult population, and now that they've extended this to children, I think it's 81% of the population age 5 and upwards that are vaccinated. Now that so many people have been vaccinated, they are changing the way that this process is taking place. Previously, if you wanted to get a vaccination, you generally went to the big sports hall in Reykjavík, if you live here, and they were doing mass vaccinations there. There's lots of photographs of this in reports, but the demand has dropped off so much based on the fact that most people are already vaccinated, that they've announced that they'll be stopping doing these vaccinations in this way and moving to doing them in health centres. So again, everything points to the fact that this is a different phase in the response to the pandemic, and that we're moving to a different time, a different timeline of living with COVID, which, I mean, we've been fooled before. We've lifted restrictions in Iceland and had to reapply them. So hopefully this time it really is us moving to a different way of life. Fingers crossed, anyway. And on to something else. Valor mentioned in a previous newscast this situation that we have here that we refer to as the fish rot files. And this is a case that's been going on for a number of years now. It involves this company who are based out of Akureyri in the north of Iceland, called Samherji. And this is an Icelandic fishing company that were doing business in Namibia. Unfortunately, they did not seem to be doing particularly legal business at certain points. They were under investigation for bribery and corruption in Namibia through the Icelandic justice system. They were trying to bribe Namibian officials regarding fish quotas, which is a big deal. And this obviously caused a lot of bad press, essentially, for the company. And they were being investigated by a number of different media outlets here in Iceland, including Stundin, who you've seen, Bjartmar, who Valor worked with on the plastics reporting that we did earlier last year. So there was four main outlets, or four journalists who've been very highly involved in reporting this case, and the files were founded from various sources. So there was a WikiLeaks release, essentially, that released some of these files so that people could report on this case. But also there has been a case where the captain of one of the ships, his phone went missing and he's reported it stolen. And the company are making it very clear that when he reported this to the police, he did not make any accusations around specific people. But he did report it missing. And some of the reporting in the media has been in regards to very specific emails between a team that were set up within the company who referred to themselves as the guerrilla team, which, I mean, doesn't sound particularly good when you want to be giving yourself a clean slate in the media. But these individuals within the company, their job essentially was to try and restore the company's image after these allegations of bad business practice. And these emails came to light in a way that might relate to this stolen phone. And that's why this has become a matter of police investigation. But there's been huge outcry here in Iceland about it, because journalists being investigated for reporting on cases like this obviously does not bode well for freedom of expression in terms of journalistic rights. And there has been precedent for this in Icelandic society, and that relates to the financial crash where journalists got hold of loan books. Where do you want to go, Art? Over here? Okay. Yeah, journalists got hold of loan books, and it was incredibly illegal in terms of the right to privacy to report on the names in these. And yet, in the end, they did do this, and they were taken to court, but the courts ruled in the journalists' favour. And I think, based on that, we're likely to see the same situation happen again here. The courts seem to acknowledge that the public right to information outweighs the right for privacy in these cases. So essentially what this seems to be is an attempt to kind of muzzle the press, or at least kind of put a dampener on their activities, which in itself is still quite concerning. This is Blue Lagoon, by the way. If you've ever visited, you'll recognise it, but it's particularly popular in the winter when it's beautiful like this, so definitely come and check it out. It's stunning. But yeah, so these, while it's unlikely that anything specifically will come of these cases for these journalists, it's still not something that we want to see. And the Union for the Press here in Iceland has been particularly vocal about how inappropriate they consider this investigation to be. We'll of course keep you updated about it, but that's the situation as it stands. And finally, on to something really lovely and interesting. If you're a fan of Icelandic language, we also have a specific Icelandic Sign Language. And actually February the 11th is Icelandic Sign Language Day. And for this year's celebrations, as part of it, the Association for Icelandic Sign Language teamed up with Samtökin Sjötuátta, which is the association for queer, gay, lesbian, transgender, non-binary people in Iceland. And they ended up, they decided to run a competition to create new words for different terms. So one of the terms was for asexual. The others were, there were some very specific Icelandic words. So yes, asexual, non-binary, and two terms that are very specific. The first is kvar, which is a gender-neutral word that can either mean a man or a woman. And the second one was stalp, which is similar, but it means a boy or a girl. So essentially the same term, but for a young non-binary person. So the way that the competition worked was that different people submitted different ideas for new signs. And then a panel of judges came together to work out which ones were the best fit. And one of the ways that they decided this was basically the simplicity of the sign, because sign language needs to get across concepts in a quick and easy way. And it also has to be unique, so it can't overlap with other signs. And so they looked at several different submissions from different people, and they decided on 4 new signs. So if you are a deaf or hard of hearing person and you are learning Icelandic Sign Language, or you want to know specific terms, they are now available online, and you can find videos that show you exactly how to do this. So definitely check out Samtökin's website. They've got lots of information about this if you want to learn any of these new terms. It's pretty busy today. Everyone seems to be out enjoying the snow. But that is all of the news today from Iceland. Thanks so much for joining us. We're gonna go and find a nice corner over here to show you some of the landscape. Over here? So here we are, Blue Lagoon. Well placed to end a video. Yeah, truly tremendous day. I hope you get a chance to come here if you're ever on a trip to Iceland. And yeah, please do remember our shop, our lovely lopapeysas. They are truly wonderful. I don't really want to give this back. I'm just going to keep it and keep cozy. But we also have a range of other things available, and we send all over the world, so do check it out. And also, don't forget our membership. We just released a new video yesterday, a practical Icelandic video, just to members. It comes out to them before anyone else. So if you want our content early, do check it out and leave us a comment. Let us know what the weather is like where you are. Let us know if you're planning a trip to Iceland. We really love to hear from you. And normally I'm much more frequently behind the camera or behind the computer responding to your comments, so I really love to read them all and I try and get back to as many as I can. And yeah, sjáumst.